Test. Zoom crashing? Okay.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
Would you like us to begin with the housekeeping remarks?
Yes, please.
Thank you for participating in today's meeting. Please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room, and please silence all devices. Click on the globe at the bottom of your screen to select either English or Spanish. Public comment will be taken after each item. If you are in the auditorium and wish to comment, please use the iPads located in the lobby. For meetings in other locations, please complete a blue speaker card and provide it to a South Coast AQMD employee. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all agenda items, and times may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. More time will be allotted for Spanish translation that is not simultaneous. For questions or issues on public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you are authorizing recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
Okay, are we waiting for quorum? I think we have 2 board members there.
Supervisor Hagman is attending so that we may have a quorum. You would just need to appoint him to the committee for today.
Okay. All right, well, I'll call the meeting to order. And I'd like to appoint Supervisor Hagman to the admin committee for today's attendance. And I do see Supervisor Perez, looks like he's calling in. Let's get a roll call.
Vice Chair Cacchiotti,
Here.
Supervisor Hagman,
Present.
Board Member Krakoff, absent, Supervisor Perez,
Here.
and Chair Delgado.
And I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Welcome, everybody. So let's dive into the agenda. We've got discussion items 1 through 7. I don't have any board member concerns to report. Does anybody on the committee want to share anything?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, I see Supervisor shaking his head. All right, so we'll move on to item number 2. I didn't see any approved travel in the report or any out-of-country travel. Is that correct, Wayne?
That is correct.
Okay, so that brings us to the board agenda. I don't have any changes to that. Is there anything you want to share about the agenda, Wayne?
Just wanted to note that we have 2 items for set hearing. We will determine the proposed amendments to Regulation 3. Fees are exempt from CEQA, amend Reg 3. And then the second set hearing item will be to determine that the proposed amended Rule 1146.2, emissions of oxides of nitrogen from large water heaters and small boilers and process heaters, et cetera, will also be set. And then finally, we just have the one public hearing item, which will be proposed amended Rule 1118, the control of emissions from refinery flares. And that's all I have to report on the agenda.
Okay, great. I don't see any hands raised from board members, and I've been watching that there's nobody who's raised their hands online. So that brings us to approval of compensation. We do have two staff members for Board Member Krakow.
Correct.
I'm sorry, say again?
You're correct. I'm sorry.
Is there a motion?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and second. Can we get a roll call on that, please?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti,
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman, Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez,
Yes.
Chair Delgado,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great, thank you. All right, that brings us to Dr. Hurd Johnson for the presentation on inclusion, diversity, and equity efforts.
Hello and happy March. Thank you again for the opportunity to present our DEI efforts for the month of February. As always, I am very glad to be in space with you all to share what we've done. And as it is a Friday, I'd like to introduce to I'm sure someone that you all might be familiar with, Lisa P. Jackson, for our Fabulous Female Friday. She was a chemical engineer and a former U.S. EPA administrator. Wayne, did you know her personally? I knew that. See, like you that person. You know everybody. But we were super excited to share with our staff who she was and what she has done for really environmental injustice. A former U.S. EPA administrator, originally born in Philadelphia, but was from New Orleans. Graduated from Tulane and Princeton in chemical engineering. And again, have to say, not always seeing people who look like me in the sciences. So it's really great to learn more about her. In 2009, President Obama selected her to be the U.S. EPA administrator, becoming the first African-American woman to hold the position. Although, her time has passed in that position, more than a decade, really, the fundamentals still hold true to what she was fighting for. She had prioritized expanding outreach to communities that were historically underrepresented in environmental actions, which just really resonates with us with the AB 617 program. And so we just, again, we're really pleased to be able to share with our staff a little bit of history, and the fact that it was also African American Heritage Month made it all the better. So that's Lisa P. Jackson. Next slide, please. So we had several infographics. February, although the shortest month, is chock full of many cultural remembrances and acknowledgments. So we shared with our staff information about African American Heritage Month, Rosa Parks Day. We also had a Lunar New Year infographic, and then also commemorated remembrance of Japanese internment. And again, these are infographics that go out to our staff. As they are busy, they are out in the field. We just want them to have a repository of information to learn about different holidays and remembrances. So these were our infographics for the month of February. Next slide, please. And hopefully last month you are all able to see the many different intersecting displays that we had to recognize the month. These were pictures of our African American Heritage Month, Lunar New Year, and Japanese internment remembrance. I would like to share the feedback that we've gotten from our staff is that they appreciate the infographics and they appreciate the displays, and now they want more. They want to delve deeper. They want to have more hard-hitting conversations. They're looking at the social injustices that are happening in the world, and they're like, okay, let's have conversations, let's have dialogue. And so I'm pleased. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I've been ready for 3 years. So they feel a certain readiness and a willingness, because I think when we're talking about what we're talking about in terms of DEI issues, the willingness on the part of staff to want to learn more is a good thing. So they're telling us we want more, so we'll continue to do that. Thank you. Next slide. One such activity that we did to recognize African American History Month, we did a virtual tour of the Museum of Latin American Art, which is based out of Long Beach. It was a collaboration between our Barack, which is our Black employees, and our Halos, which are Hispanic and Latinx employee resource groups, to explore their seasonal exhibit, which was Afro-Latino artists from Central America and the Caribbean islands. Staff were very pleased. They were really engaged in the presentation. We had about 50 employees were in attendance, and they really like to be able to address the intersectionality of Afro and Latino issues and concerns. Next slide, please. We also had our Fabulous Female Friday to honor African American Heritage Month. I will have to say, honestly, as I identify as an African American woman, I was very proud to be in the space with several of my employees, learning about all of these different women who have contributed so much to our culture, our society. And so you can see here on the staff feedback, it was really just, the staff were like, I didn't know this person and I didn't know that they had done this before. And it was nice to raise people's visibility and not have folks be invisible and truly be a part of our knowledge and our history and our culture. And so it was a really remarkable event that we had on the third Friday of February. Next slide, please. Our employee resource groups have been incredibly active. Our API plus employee resource groups basically went and did a wonderful Lunar Year celebration and are planning an event later for March with the Asian Americans Advancing Justice for Southern California. Our Barack employee resource group hosted a meet and greet for African American Heritage Month. The great part about those two is that many former retirees are joining in. So even though people are retiring, folks are still wanting to come back and connect with community, and that's been really, really nice. Our Halos group has some ideas for the upcoming march to honor Cesar Chavez. So to a fairly new recognition as Farm Workers Week. And so the staff is really excited to be able to provide some information on this week and how we can collaborate and commemorate that here at South Coast AQMD. And then our Persian Employee Resource Group is working on celebrating Nowruz and planning a outdoor gathering for the Sada Badar, which is a picnic that honors Persian New Year. So a lot of activity going on within our employee resource groups. Next slide. And then finally, we are just so happy that we were able to go to the East LA Boyle Heights West Carmos community in February for our C3PO Critical Community Conversations for Purposeful Outreach. We were able to spend time with a wonderful organization called Legacy LA. What was really powerful for us is that there were former students, interns in their program who have now graduated to being employees of the program, and one such person who has now become their executive director, who used to be a student in their program. So it was really great for our team to see such a youthful group of people committed. I think oftentimes folks don't understand the impact of growing up in, air pollution and what it does to children. To see them so passionate and so inspired, it was really just awesome to be in space with those folks. And not only did we stayed with them for the day in the morning, they came with us to East LA or to Cal State LA so that we could interact with them a little bit more. So we went through the Ramona Gardens housing development, and then we saw the hydrogen research and fueling facility at Cal State LA. And so it was really great to mix the groups and the staff, and just again, a wonderful opportunity for our staff who are working on AB 617 to be in space with the community. So next slide. Any questions?
Thank you so much for that presentation. Any board member questions? It's hard for me to tell, but if there's anybody who's got their hands raised. There we go.
There are no hand raised.
Okay, and I don't see anybody looking to speak from the public, but thank you so much, Dr. Hurd Johnson, for that. Oh, okay, we do have one hand raised. And I'll take that caller.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, good morning, Harvey.
Good morning. My name's Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. I am Hebrew/Jewish. I heard nothing about a group involved, cited, I heard Persians and whatnot. Anyway, we've been around a long time. And anyway, there was a recent issue I want to incorporate by reference, a cover article on DEI in the Jewish Journal in the last month or so. And I want to incorporate that into reference. And it's a call out to entities like this and the university crap that's going on now. And saying, hey, look it up. This is our history. These are issues as we see it. I can't flip over backwards and forwards on this, but I want to incorporate that by reference, and I want to see that discussed with y'all and with the brew community or rabbis and, you know, whatever. And that omission is glaring. Okay? That's my comment. Consider this.
Okay. I'm not sure if Harvey, are you still speaking?
I just wanted to add a tag. For instance, you talk about equity and stuff. Karl Marx was Jewish. The first thing he ever wrote was on the Jewish question because a Christian said that you can't be a socialist unless you convert first to Christianity. All right. His dad was kept from practicing law and had become a Christian. Okay. He came from 6 generations of rabbis. People don't know this. Now that's equity. That's a history in this culture. All right. Let's look at history and learn from the past as well, so we don't repeat it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Harvey. Okay, let's move on to Ron's presentation on ongoing and upcoming projects for information management.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Ron Moskowitz, Chief Information Officer. We are pleased to announce that we successfully deployed a minor update to our South Coast AQMD mobile app. Based on industry best practices and guidelines, this update incorporated the latest versions of all dependencies to ensure the app is up to date and secure. The update also addresses some usability issues. We worked closely with planning and LPAM staff to complete this update. It's now live on both Apple and Google App Store, and we already have up to date 84,878 people using the app. We're also happy to report that we did do a major update to our VW Mitigation Trust Grant Management System for combustion freight and marine projects and zero-emission Class 8 freight and port drayage truck solicitation. This update included changes requested by California Air Resource Board staff to help improve program participation by expanding eligibility, increasing maximum funding amounts, and allowing stacking with other state incentives. I am worked closely with TAO to ensure all request changes have been implemented for both categories so applicants can register and apply seamlessly. And the solicitation opened successfully on March 5th. Everything else is on schedule, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Board members, any questions, comments? Just one question for me. Ron, is it possible, we've got some amazing incentive programs happening, to incorporate those on the apps at some point? It's just an open question for consideration.
Sure, we could look into that.
Yeah, especially the one that just started yesterday. In the future,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's move on to action items 8 through 12. Ron, you're up again.
Yes, good morning again. This is just a standard request to obtain approval for the sole source purchase of hardware and software maintenance and support services for servers and storage devices from Hewlett Packard Enterprise Company for 1 year. The funds are in our budget, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there a motion, board members, or any questions?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. I don't see anybody with hands raised or questions in the attendees. Can we get a roll call?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman?
Hagman, aye.
Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes,
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
thank you, Ron. Now we move on to item number 9 with Sujata.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, members of the committee. Sujata Jain, Chief Financial Officer. This item is to surplus or dispose fixed assets that have become obsolete. We have 2 attachments. Attachment A is a list of equipment that need to be disposed. The total acquisition cost for these assets was $1,022,735.22, and all the assets are fully depreciated. There were, however, 18 items that were disposed prior to board approval. Attachment B is a list of vehicles that need to be disposed. The total acquisition cost for these is $359,955.31. These also are fully disposed, and the total assets that we are asking approval to be disposed are $1,382,691. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Board members, any questions or a motion?
Hagman moves.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Sujata, I just had one quick question. I know there was a nonprofit that asked if we had any EV vehicles that they could use to practice on. I noticed there wasn't any EV on the surplus list, but I'm not sure if the CNG would be something that they would be interested in using.
Hi, Chair. This is Wayne. We did meet, I believe it was the Miguel Contreras Foundation.
Mhm.
And they were really focused on EV vehicles, so
Okay.
this G weren't of appeal to them.
Okay, appreciate that. All right, it's been moved in second. Can we get a roll call on that vote?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman?
Hagman, aye.
Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes,
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
great. Item 10 and 11 are with Jason.
Great. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Jason Lowe, Deputy for the Monitoring Analysis Division. For this item, South Coast AQMD was awarded a grant by US EPA to design and develop a mobile platform for air toxics measurements, for which EPA approved a grant extension. This action is to recognize revenue of around $93,000 and appropriate funds into the monitoring analysis budget, and also issue solicitations and execute purchase orders and contracts for the operational needs of this project. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Jason. Board member, any questions or a motion? I don't see any hands
Hagman
raised.
moves.
Second.
Thank you. I don't see any hands raised from the public on this item. Can we get a roll call on the motion?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman?
Hagman, aye.
Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes,
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
thank you. Jason, take us through item 11, please.
Will do. Thank you. So this is a routine item whereby South Coast AQMD is expected to receive funds of up to $760,000 from US EPA for the PM 2.5 air monitoring program. And this action is to recognize the revenue, appropriate funds to the monitoring analysis budget, and issue purchase orders for air monitoring equipment. Happy to answer any questions.
That's exciting. Thank you. Board members?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second, and we don't have any hands raised for public comment. So can we get a roll call on that, please?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman? Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes,
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
thank you. And John presents, if you could present the operation of the cafeteria contract.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. John Olvera, Deputy Executive Officer for Administrative and Human Resources. This item is to approve the execution of a contract for the operation of our cafeteria here at Diamond Bar headquarters. Our contract with the current operator expires on April 30th. Through an RFP process, we received 2 proposals, including one from the current operator. A panel was established to evaluate the proposals based on the evaluation process Primo Nosh chefs received the highest overall score based on criteria such as a site visit, experience of the proposal, and operations. Therefore, the recommendation is to enter into a contract with Primo Nosh chefs to begin May 2024 and to go through December 2026 with 2 additional year extensions. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Madam Chair, just a quick question.
Yes, please.
Thank you. John, who were the 4 executives that participated in tasting the food? Let me see if I can trust their judgment. I'm not sure if I trust a couple of them, but who were the others?
I can tell you they're all here in the auditorium. It was myself and Wayne and Susan and Dr. Hurt Johnson.
Okay. And your feedback was what?
We reviewed the proposals. We conducted site visits, and the proposal, the evaluation on technical score, including quality of food, the operations themselves, and their plans for how they would work with us. We found them to be, we rated them higher than the other proposal. That we found them to be very good.
Thanks.
One other note, there is one other distinction. Right now, we are currently providing a stipend to the current operator. A monthly dollar stipend is what we had arranged with them. Previously, this operator is not requesting a stipend, so they will, it'll be a no-cost contract.
Great. Madam Chair, I just want to say myself and Supervisor Hackman tasted some of their fare early this morning. It was excellent. I think you'll like the change.
Okay, great. I'll trust you all, and I'll take a motion if there's one.
That's a motion, yes?
I'm seconded.
It's been motion second. Can you get a roll call on that?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman?
Hagman, aye.
Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to written reports. Derek has 4 written reports. Do you want to summarize those for us or share anything about the reports, Derek?
Sorry about that. Yeah, the 4 written reports are from the SBA, Small Business Advisory Council. The reason for the multiple ones for local gov and small business was there was not a quorum, and so we moved them on. And then also Environmental Justice Advisory Group from November was held on because there was next meeting wasn't until January when they could approve the minutes, and then we moved it on to this month. So that's why the delay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Derek. I'm sorry, there was 3. I misspoke. Board members, any comments or questions for Derek? Don't see any. No hands raised from the audience to speak. I don't have any other business to share. So that brings us to public comment. And we do have 1 speaker. Let's bring on Harvey Etter.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, Harvey.
Okay. First, before I forget, I did about a 15-minute video on soft white underbelly about a year and a half ago, and I want to incorporate that by reference into the record here, so you get some kind of reference point on me and some of our positions in history. It's just something. Anyway, the legislative committee met before y'all, and I wanted to bring this up to them. They say, well, this stuff's going to pass today or tomorrow. I've been talking this for a long time. There's a group back east, the ACT, where they're out of the White House and they do this diversity equity stuff. I tried to go to their meetings several times over the past 4, 5, 6 years, and got blackballed, not allowed to come, including making a trip to DC. And I was dealing with Fabian when she was the public advisor, and they told me that the meeting was overflowing, you can't get in and all this stuff. She told me she went to the meeting and it was half empty. Okay, now this 40% is when I go into 617 areas, environmental justice areas. They want to say 40% of the solar renewable stuff is going to be in those areas, so we get the benefits of reduced emissions. Fine, but I say the big issue, and this is mean clouded, is that who's going to own it? Who's going to control it? Who's going to make the decisions on it? Key bono, who benefits, okay? Public power is 20% less expensive than industrial owned. First of all, you need tax exempt bonds and other things, all right? That's one big thing. And that has to be looked at. And this $4 billion coming down now around the country and the $200 million for planning, that's stuff that should go to us. And the Solar New Deal, and it's totally being ignored, and we will follow up in court, okay? This is really outrageous. You had no due diligence. We got thrown out of court. We got no help from you getting the tapes, UCARB or EPA. You're all captured agencies, basically, and acting that way, and it's got to be stopped because this is an existential issue. Now, everything, this 40%'s got to be doubled, at least 80% of this got to be equity. Any piece of legislation that comes out nationally, state, local, has to have this as a tag to it. It should be 100. That leaves it open for 10% for industry, but we want patents and copyrights to go to the people, and that we get development and all that in this transition, okay? And we have ties in with the university intelligence, et cetera. So this has to be done on a systemic level. It has to be done quickly. And the stuff, they said 60% 3 years ago at IEA of the solar and wind, that was 85% of the power plants that went in, 290 gigawatts that went in, that was owned by fossil fuel companies. We cannot let that continue. You know, the fox watch.
All right. Thank you for your comments, Harvey. I don't have anybody who wishes to speak here at the JW, and I don't think there's anybody there at the auditorium. All right, so next meeting is April 12th. Anything else, Wayne, before we adjourn?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.